Hi everyone, and welcome to TimeLog's Power Session. I am joined today with my lovely colleague Samine, and today's session is about the expense tracking and the new updates in that module. My name is Stine, and I'm a Customer Success Manager within TimeLog. And I will do my very best in this power session to give you some pointers you perhaps did not know about. So today's session will take about 20 minutes, and you're welcome to use the chat function along the way with your questions, and I will follow up on those in the end. Be aware that this session will be recorded and sent out afterwards. So let me share my screen. I'm sure you can see my screen. Perfect. So the best thing about the expense tracking is that you can easily get your expenses into the system, both personal and project expenses. You can keep an eye on the outstanding reimbursements, transfer the attachments to your salary system, and get a great overview of it all in our reports. So in this session, I will show the expense flow, both personal and project expenses, how you can easily download the zip file for transfer the attachment to your salary system, and in the end, show you some great reports for lookup. So let's start by creating a personal expense. Personal expenses are used if you, for an example, have bought, let's say, a new headset on your own personal credit card, and you should be reimbursed by the company. Then you create it as a personal expense. So you'll find the personal expense on the register. So I want to add a new personal expense. The view here will give you some options. So let's go through them. First, you need to select a customer. I know I have my own customer in here. Let's pick a project. And this one is a taxi. So here I need to add a supplier to the expense. That could be the taxi company supplier. Let's say I did not have any, so I can just add a new one. But let's just take one of the existing ones in here. The cap that was, let's say today, and it cost me 500. I can choose here if I want the VAT included and which kind of payment method I used. In this one, I will say that I used my personal credit card. So this was a taxi drive. Again, I can also see if it's billable or not by check marking it here. So the option right now is that I, before our new update, actually could save the invoice before I could attach an image in here. But the newest update is that you can now attach it before you need to save. And you can now also attach PDF files as an attachment. So before the update, you only had the option to attach images. So this is a great new feature for you, and I hope you'll love it. Also, as an extra thing, if you want to register for another employee and your role gives you the right, you can do it in the drop down here. But let me add an image to this taxi drive. Let's say I want to add the receipt. I have the receipt right here. This is just my taxi, and I can save it right here. So when the expense is saved, you will be directed to the Submit Print Personal Expense Report. This is also found under the Register tab here. From here, you can edit or delete your expenses. You can have an overview of how much reimbursement you have outstanding, and you can see and click to view the attachment directly on the expense. This is my expense right here, and I can click to see my attachment. I can also edit it if I want to and go directly into setup or delete it here. So remember, the personal expense function also is available in the mobile app, where you can easily register a new personal expense, take a picture of the receipt on the go, or upload a PDF file directly from your device. I know that we have a lot of guides and video on this as well on our YouTube channel, so I will not show you the flow on the mobile device today. But let's continue on creating a project expense. Project expenses are used if you have purchased something and it is not being reimbursed, but are paid either with a company card or from the company's account. That could be workshop equipment, parking licenses, etc. Then you create a project expense. So project expenses you'll find under the tab Project and New Project Expense. Almost the same setup in here. So let's select a customer, project, the expense type. Let's say this was parking. If I want to add a new supplier or just a already added supplier, I can here add a supplier invoice number if I want this on the invoice when I set it up. Choose the date. Let's say it was today, and the parking was, let's say, 100. The VAT is calculated from the expense tab, so that's really nice. And here I can select what kind of payment method. Let's say it was a company credit card. I'll add a comment, and I can select if it's billable or not. Again, here I can just add my attachment. Let's say I have a receipt for parking, but I also want to add a PDF, which I can easily do here. I have a PDF file here. So now I see that it's uploaded. So when saving the expense, you will be directed to the project if you have access on your role, or you will just go back to the front page. So if I try to save it and I know I have access to the project, then I will be redirected to the project's contract, and you will then see the expense and amount of this here. So this is the contract. Under the expenses, I have the parking right here. So a little note in all of this is that if you use approval of expenses, the manager or bookkeeper can go to the approve expenses and check mark the setup from here. This is a setup within the system administration that you need to activate if you use it. So when employees create expenses in the system, the bookkeepers often wants to see and export all these expenses. And here we have a great report for that. It's called Data Extraction Report for Purchases and Expenses. So let's find it here. I can just search, and it's under the Data Extraction Report right here. Here you will get a great overview of all both project and personal expenses on different filters. So here you can filter on, let's say, employee or department. So let's try and find the expenses I just made. So I know that it's me. So let me find myself here. And I see the two expenses that I just created here. So the results from here gives you the option to actually download the attachment to a zip file and, for example, export it to your salary system. This is also a great new feature to the system. So here you have the attachment. I can actually click on it to see the receipt. Also the other one where I had the PDF, it's right here. This is just something I have. So if you want to download it, you can just check mark them all or select each one, just one of them. I want to select all of them. I use the drop-down to download the attachment. When I click OK, you'll be redirected to a page where you are in a loading and a waiting for the attachment to be done. And here are the attachments ready to export to your salary system. Also be aware that if you have an integration to Economic, Fort Knox, or Business Central, you will have the option to both import and export the expenses too. Just be aware that you need to update your expense type in the system administration. And for more information on that, just please contact support on this. Let me close this down here and here. And let me just see that was all I wanted to show you today.